Hi YouTube. I'm just watching the film All the Money in the World by John Paul Getty. No, not by. It's about the life of John Paul Getty. Yeah, it's about the life of John Paul Getty. And I just had a memory of my dad. I just had a memory of my dad, an emotional memory. My dad was very driven. He was extremely driven. Maybe that's one of the reasons I like this film, because it reminds me of that part of my past. As a little kid, I just had a memory of just being a little kid and wanting my dad's attention, and I almost got upset thinking about it. It's silly, really, isn't it? But I wanted to share it on Facebook. Yeah, I remember I had a memory of being a little kid and playing with toys and stuff, and seeing my dad, because my dad was always sat at the table writing or studying or writing. And if he wasn't doing that, he was working all the time. This is before my dad's illness. I was 8 years of age when my dad had a brain hemorrhage. And obviously that stopped him more or less dead in his tracks towards success. But I know he was training as a chartered surveyor. My dad was a painter and decorator, and then he was a building inspector, and then he was trained as a chartered surveyor in his early 30s. And that was when my dad had his illness, when I was about 8 years of age, and my dad was in his early 30s. Yeah, it's funny how memories that far back can just hit you, just watching a film. It's yeah, the film does remind me a lot about my dad, actually. Because my dad was the kind of person, on my dad's side, they're very, very careful with their money. And my dad was the kind of person that if you asked him to buy you sweets or something, he always used to say no, and then he would come back with them. Sorry about that, I was just getting a bit emotional. And that film just reminded me of that, because it's about this man who's really, really tight with his money, and his son basically has to beg his dad for money. And it's sort of, I haven't really told anyone this. I don't think I even told Daniel this. I might have done, but I'm not sure. But when I watched it on the cinema, it reminded me of my dad, and then I just had memories, flashbacks again of my dad. Yeah, so, I look really red, don't I? Oh God, my neck looks really red. Yeah, so it's quite emotional, very emotional. No, actually, it's not emotional. Oh, what am I saying? No, what I'm trying to say is that I had this memory of being a child, and well, I've already said that, so I don't know why I'm repeating it, but yeah. Oh, look at them clouds out there. Looks like a storm, doesn't it? Can you see that? He's had his kitchen done next door. So they were clattering and banging from about 6-7 this morning, workmen. And me and Daniel had a little argument, but we made up now. Basically, he snapped at me and I got a bit scared. I do sometimes get a bit scared when he snaps at me. I don't know why, but I don't know. but sometimes I do. Yeah, so it's a good film. I'm not saying it's not a good film. It's just it reminds me of my dad on my dad's side because my uncle's the same, very similar to my dad. He's very careful with his money as well, and his husband Marlene is as well. I mean, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I wasn't very good with money. I used to waste it, and I got into problems buying things on credit, a laptop, and I bought a TV on credit, and I couldn't pay it back when I was about 18, 19. I couldn't pay the money back, and actually, this hairstyle quite suits me, doesn't it? Yeah, I couldn't pay the money back, and my uncle agreed to pay the money back as long as I paid him £5 a week. My uncle took me to the bank, the Halifax, and I paid him £5 direct debit a week to pay him the money back. Yeah, and he used to be nagging me, saying, "Oh, every time I spend money, I write it down in a little. He told me to get a little notebook and a pen and write down everything I spend, every little thing." And he kind of drummed that into my head. Really, he'd done that, and it was probably a good thing in a way because I did start to be in my 20s. I did start to become more careful with my money. But yeah, that's a bit of history for you. Yeah, that film does remind me a lot about my dad. My dad was very driven. He didn't stop. He didn't stop working. He didn't stop studying until like late at night, and then he was up like the crack of dawn the next morning. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it there because I'm not sure what else to say. So, bye YouTube, peace.